Good day, everybody. So, anyways, I used to enjoy classical music. I used to actually paint to it. It's a pretty big part of my life. Then I realized a couple of years ago I was in Costa Rica. And I realized that any form of music really, if you listen to it for too long, or even too short, can control your mood and your emotional state. And ever since, I really haven't listened to music that much. Even classical music or any form of music. It also really clutters the brain because it's not stillness. Essentially, it's just like watching a movie or a television show or YouTube or anything like that. So, the other day I was on the bus and there was this guy. And he's a homeless guy. And he was carrying like this big 5-gallon bucket around with him. And, he got on the bus and it was clear to everybody that this man was homeless. But the interesting thing about him is that he had a skit. He had like a routine. And I think it was to enhance the quality of himself, where he didn't feel complete. Or in order for people not to judge him as much or look down upon him, he decided to create a skit or an illusion or an image or a character, called a character. And his character was that he tried to be funny and entertaining. So he got on the bus and he sat down and he said, "What is the stop for Rio de Janeiro?" And then he started singing a song about Rio de Janeiro after he said, "Do you know what place is down the road from the Rio de Janeiro?" So he created a skit in order to enhance his ego or the significance of the self. And this enhancement of the self or the ego or the character is really through the conditioning of society and the psychology makeup. And feeling okay and at peace and a way to impress others so others won't judge you or look down upon you or accept you. They'll accept you. So many of us have created these characters, these illusions. I spent the greater portion of my life creating a character or an illusion. Not only to be accepted by other people, but because I thought it would make me happy. But it didn't make me happy at all. I mean, it did, at first, and it would for 5 minutes. But those 5 minutes went away. I still felt very like nothing was ever right. Like there was always suffering. There was always depression or anger or worry about what people would think about me. Because I was a character. I was the ego. I wasn't creation, right? I was wrapped up in like a form of significance. Being someone. So creating these characters only leads to suffering and worry, essentially. Because you're not dissolving the self. You're in a weird way trying to enhance the self. Whenever you try to enhance the self, you're always going to run into problems. Like for me, I was always the guy, the funny and the entertaining guy. The guy that knew something about sports. Or the fit guy, the healthy guy. Or the guy that had his act together. The guy that was, intellectual to some degree. And then I got wrapped up with being the spiritual guy. Being spiritual and thinking I knew tons of stuff, I knew how to help people, and then get really wrapped up in psychology. And I was the psychology guy. And I was all these different characters. And they created this overall ninja character. But by being all these characters, I know they always led to suffering. Because they're not really real, the characters. They're not real. They're just conditioning and how you grew up, what you think is right and what you think is wrong, what you think will impress people. How to impress people, how to get attention, how to get a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a husband or a wife, how to get friends, how to be accepted, how to fit in, how to not be rejected, how to not be lonely. think loneliness is the big one. People are really scared of loneliness. So since they don't want to be alone, and they don't want to be depressed or sad, they create this character, or the many characters, or they create this ego, this significance. They try to stand out to get all these things that society has pushed you to believe that will make you happy. You know, being successful, you know, a lot of it is just to get a husband or a wife and children and, you know, a nice house, nice car, that kind of thing, blah, 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 and it creates happiness. So the first key to not being this character anymore, or this illusion anymore, is really finding happiness on your own in solitude. And then you're not scared of being lonely. You actually enjoy your own company. When you're by yourself, you just have fun. You know, and you don't need a partner. You don't need to have a husband or a wife. You don't need to be a part of a group, religious group, a cool group, or, you know, any kind of group. Because you know you can find happiness by yourself. So you don't need a group anymore. You don't need to be a part of a group. You don't need to be with a partner. You don't need a husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend. You don't even need a family. You know, you don't need anything. So the key to everything really is to just find happiness on your own in solitude. And once you find that happiness on your own, you don't need anything. You know, the ego just dissolves. You know, you don't need to be significant anymore. There is no need to be significant. There's no need to achieve. There's no need to be successful. There's no need to attract a mate. And once you don't have to attract a partner, you can do whatever the hell you want. Sorry to curse. But you can be whoever you want. Do whatever you want. I swear, most of the things that we do are to just attract a group, be accepted, and to attract a partner, a husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend. So we could live the dream and all that other stuff. I don't get it, man. And a lot of it is because we're so scared to be alone. We're so scared to be lonely. I don't know, man. But yeah, so just find happiness in solitude. And then you'll start being the present moment and connecting with people and connecting with stillness and connecting with nature and connecting with everything around you, because it's not about you anymore. You don't need to be significant. You don't need to be center of attention anymore. You don't need to attract anyone. You don't need to impress anyone. You don't need to be accepted by anybody. You just are. You just be. And you're happy with just being. It's really cool, actually. So, so find happiness in solitude. It's by spending time with yourself, without distractions, man. I spent 5 hours on the floor by myself today, cooking and just hanging out on the floor. 5 hours by myself. And I was scraping the pan with like a spatula, and I hit this like rough surface, and it was like a rock, and it wouldn't move, and it was like a dried up piece of cow liver, and it was like burnt, and I was like, what is that? And then I said, I know what that is. The fact that I answered my own question, I was laughing so hard for the next 2 minutes that like my side was hurting and I started crying. Because I love being by myself. Like you just don't get lonely. And then when you're out and about for the rest of the day, you connect with people, you talk with people, and they talk, and you do most of the listening, and you keep asking questions, and you get to know them, and they're so happy because you're listening to them, and you're asking them questions, and you're getting to know their story. People love talking about their story. People love talking about themselves. It's what they live for. Well, most people that have egos and are obsessed with significance and, their backstory. I never have a need to talk about myself at all. Unless I'm doing these videos and I'm trying to explain things. Um, but yeah, you connect with people, you get to know people, you love people more. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And it all starts with finding happiness on your own in solitude and not being afraid of being lonely. And once you are not afraid of being lonely, you connect with everything. And you're the present and your stillness and your present moment. And you don't need anything anymore. You don't need a partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, children. You don't need a family. You don't need to be a part of a group because you're not scared anymore. You're okay with loneliness. And then when you're okay with loneliness and you're the present moment, you accept dying and you're not afraid to die anymore. You're not afraid of anything. You don't have desires. You don't need anything. So find happiness on your own in solitude. Spend time by yourself. No distractions, no TV, no music, no messaging, no YouTube, no Facebook, no Twitter, no emails. And have fun. Peace. Later. Dun dun dun. Enjoy your Friday.